Hey racers, and welcome back to another live stream. And today's live stream is on how to get pumped up for race day. So I guess the whole point of tackling this topic and wanting to get pumped up for race day is you want to make sure that you're as alert, as energized or energetic as you can be going out into race, so that you can perform at your best at the end of the day. And the reason I wanted to bring up this topic is I did a weightlifting competition yesterday, an Olympic weightlifting competition. And over the last 10, 11 years, I've done a few of these, but it's been a few years since I've gone and done a weightlifting comp. So there was a lot of feelings or emotions that I was going through yesterday. Hey, Simon, going into the weightlifting comp that I had, number one, I hadn't experienced for a while. That number two, some of those feelings start to disappear. When you're competing and you're competitive all the time and you're doing something every week, a lot of the anxiousness and nervousness you get when you've never competed before tends to disappear, or at least lower itself. That the volume of those emotions is not as loud. So I just wanted to share my experience from yesterday from the comp, and then I want to show you how this is actually going to help you to perform with your riding as well. So going to yesterday's comp, I was actually quite nervous and anxious going in, which is something that I haven't experienced for a while. Number one, because I just haven't done any lifting competitions. But number two, before I was doing quite a lot of lifting competitions and fitness comps. So the anxiety and the stress going into the comps starts to reduce and you get used to it and you know what to expect and all those sorts of things. So the biggest thing for me in terms of anxiousness and nervousness yesterday was opening up with different weights that I'd never opened up with before, as well as not having done a comp. So I found it harder to stomach food, or harder than what I normally do on a normal training day or during the week. And also your mind's racing 100 miles an hour. So I'm trying to lift these heavy weights and I need to be in the zone to be able to do my best. But at the same time, my mind is all over the place. Okay, there's all of these racing thoughts happening. And so when you have all of these racing thoughts happening, it's very hard to concentrate on focus at the task at hand and focus on what's in front of you because you're focusing on all of these other things. So in the end, ended up doing well. Once I started warming up and moving my body, I was ready to rock and roll and felt good. It was more just the before that and getting up to that point. And it's a weird thing with the lifting comp. So the way an Olympic lifting competition works is you do the snatch, and then you do the clean and jerk. Hey Ben, and you have three lifts for each. So you do three snatches and then three clean and jerks, and you have to nominate the numbers that you're going to lift. So you have to make sure that you're going to hit those numbers because once you've chosen a weight, you can't go back in weight. You can only add weight to the bar. So I started off with a 105 kilo snatch and a 126 kilo clean and jerk. For the snatch, I did 110 and got that, and then I missed 115. And for the snatch, for the clean and jerk, then I did 131 kilos, which was a 1 kilo PB. And then I did 136, which I missed. So all in all, ended up what I was expecting to do, I was able to hit with the clean and jerk, probably maybe a little bit better. But all in all, I was happy with how everything went, especially for not having been out there for a while. But the funny thing is, going in for the snatch, it's like you're overstimulated. You know, you're warming up, you're excited, you've got adrenaline. There's all of these different types of emotions and feelings that you're getting. And then by the time you get to the clean and jerk, it's almost like you're a bit worn out. It's the opposite. So at the start for the snatch, I was almost like I had to try and calm myself down. And then as I got halfway through the event and we got to the clean and jerk, then I had to try and amp myself up. It's almost like all that adrenaline, that energy had started to disappear and I warmed myself out. And then you've got to try and amp yourself up again. Especially after you're lifting in a competitive environment, but you're also lifting heavy weights or your maximal weights as well. So it's taxing physically, but also taxing mentally as well. So I guess in terms of managing energy, and this is what I wanted to share with you guys, is you'll be in two categories going into a race, depending on how much racing you've done and the importance of the race. You may have done heaps of racing, but you've never done a national event, and you go to a national event, and so you get all of these different emotions and anxiousness and nervousness and stress and all that you don't normally get. So it's a bit of the best way I have of explaining it is it's a bit of a seesaw, and you've got to know which side of the seesaw you're on. There's one side of the seesaw which is overstimulated. Okay, your mind's going 100 miles an hour like mine was at the start of yesterday. You're thinking about all these things, all these different scenarios. You're finding it very hard to focus. Maybe you're finding it hard to digest food. Stress, anxiety, nervousness, all of those things are the things that you're feeling. And so that's when you're overstimulated. You're picking up on all of these different things that are happening in your environment, and you're creating all these things that could happen in your environment up here. So that's overstimulation. That's one side of the seesaw. The other side of the seesaw is understimulation. So this is the second part of the event for me, going into the cleaning jerks, where it's almost like you've got to get yourself amped up and ready to go. So this generally happens when you're under a level of fatigue during an event. So even for like motocross and enduro, when you've got a level of fatigue there and you've got past that initial adrenaline rush, and then you've got to try and make magic happen and be able to perform at your best. So that's the other side, which is understimulation. Okay, it's where you need to try and work yourself up. So overstimulation, you have to try and calm yourself down. Understimulation, you've got to try and work yourself up a little bit. And so I think of it as a seesaw. Okay, if you're too far on one side, you've got to do the opposite thing to try and bring yourself down and level yourself out. Okay, if it's the opposite way and you're too calm, then you've got to do things to work yourself up to try and balance that seesaw. So that's what you're managing throughout a weekend. And like I did yesterday for the weightlifting comp, you may feel both of those at particular points in the event. You just got to know where you're at. So same for you guys at racing, like here in Perth and WA, we had the Man Jump 15,000. If that's a big event for you going into race start, at the start, you'd probably be like me yesterday doing my weightlifting comp, nervous and stressed, and you've got to try and calm yourself down. As you get to the end of the day, you might be feeling worn out mentally and physically. And so you've got to try and amp yourself up to balance out that seesaw. Now, a couple of ideas for each side to help you to balance those out in terms of strategies. If you are overstimulated, okay, it's all about just trying to get control of your thoughts and control of your brain and control of your breathing. So there's a couple of ways, or a few ways that you can do that, that come to mind. Number one is meditation. Okay, so meditation doesn't have to be like candles lit and, all that sort of stuff. Go on YouTube, type in 10-minute meditation. You'll find some bloke talking to you for 10 minutes, telling you to focus on your breathing. That's all you want. Really what we're doing is we're just trying to quieten the noise that's happening up here. Okay, when we're overstimulated, this brain is just working 100 miles an hour when it shouldn't be. Okay, and that's not going to allow you to perform at your best. So doing things like meditation can be great. Another thing that you can do is like just focus on your breathing, deep breath. So, and just controlling your breathing. You'll notice when you get stressed, anxious, and nervous, your breaths start to get shallow and you don't take in full breaths. And that starts to affect how your brain's operating as well. So another one is breathing. Another one that I had written down was visualization. So when your mind's going 100 miles an hour, you're thinking about all of these possible scenarios, okay? Involuntary, they're just happening. So to take over control of your brain and what's happening, focus on visualization, focus on being calm, focus on the outcome that you're after, focus on a particular part of the track, focus on how you're going to perform. Focus on something that could be completely unrelated. Focus on another time where you've performed well. Could be to do with work, could be to do with family, could be to do with sport while you're at school, something completely unrelated to racing. So that's just the overstimulated side. The understimulated side, okay, this is getting yourself amped up. It could be listening to music, okay, music that gets you pumped up. It could be movement, okay, just moving your body. This is probably something that can go on both sides. Moving your body and movement generally helps to reduce stress, reduce anxiety, okay, just getting your body moving. So you can use that for both sides of the equation. Understimulated could be visualization as well. Again, focusing on the outcome and focusing what you're after to help get yourself in the zone. Another one that you can use as a supplement is caffeine. Caffeine is a great stimulant that you can use, but not very effective if it's overused. You have to make sure that you're using it properly and using it at the right times. You're not using pre-workouts or caffeine all the time like Red Bulls to get you pumped up. So there are a few strategies for each side. So you just got to know what strategies to use and also what works best for you. Maybe listening to music does nothing for you, okay, and visualization is great. Maybe visualization shit for you and music is the thing that you go for. Maybe meditation is better for you than just focusing on your breathing, okay? Or maybe you don't like meditation and someone talking to you, and it's good enough just for you to take a few deep breaths, and that gets you emotionally centered again to rock and roll. Ultimately, what we're looking at is focus. If you're overstimulated, you're not going to focus well. If you're understimulated, you're not going to focus well. That sweet spot is right in the middle. Common mistakes I see is people not knowing what problem they're trying to solve, and so riders end up doing the wrong things. So they could be really anxious and stressed, okay, about racing, and then they're trying to listen to music, and then they're giving themselves caffeine and energy drinks to get themselves pumped up, and that just makes the problem worse. okay? Because you're already overstimulated with being anxious and nervous and stressed. Giving yourself caffeine is going to ramp that up. Listening to hardcore music is going to ramp that up even further. You need things in your arsenal to help calm things down. And likewise, on the other side, if you're understimulated, then maybe getting calm and doing those types of things and doing meditation and focusing on your breathing is not the thing you need, because you're already super calm and super chill. You need to go the opposite way. Okay, you need to be listening to music and getting yourself amped up and ready to rock and roll. So it's just knowing which side of the seesaw you're on. And again, you could be on both sides of the seesaw over an event weekend. It's just knowing where you're at and then having a few tools and strategies there to help you. So to summarize, getting pumped up on race day comes down to two aspects of the seesaw: overstimulation and understimulation. What you need to know is, hey, Darren, which side of the seesaw that you're on. And that can change as you're going through a ride or through a race day or through an event. But it's just knowing where you're at in the particular moment. Once you know if you're overstimulated or understimulated, depending on how you're feeling, then you have a couple of strategies or a few strategies there that you know that work for you to help to even out that seesaw. And that's what we're working on through a race weekend. It's just making sure that seesaw's nice and even rather than making sure it's really lopsided. It's just a balancing act. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I haven't talked about that side. It's just something that got triggered yesterday with my weightlifting comp. So hopefully you found it helpful. If you did find it helpful, please give the video a like. And if you need any help with your training, you'd like everything mapped out for you on a silver platter so that you can perform at your best for this season and for the coming race days, feel free to send me a private message. Let me know what races you're working towards and I'll see if I can help. But otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed it and I'll see you soon.